Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
What has got Nards?
Doom Asylum is a 1988 horror movie directed by Richard Friedman, and it stars Patty Mullen, Ruth Collins and Kristen Davis. Welcome to another Patreon request, guys, and for the month of January, OG Myers, one of my patrons, has requested for me to do a movie review for Doom Asylum. A horribly disfigured lawyer, wrongfully pronounced dead after a terrible car accident, is taken to an asylum for dissection, only to come back alive, kill everyone and make the asylum his killing grounds. This is a late 80s direct-to-video B horror movie, so I wasn't expecting anything spectacular. I wasn't expecting anything good, so let's get into the good and the bad of this movie. At the start, we're introduced to Mitch and Judy. I'll get into Mitch's character a little later on in the review, but these two, straight from the beginning, are very, very stupid. They've won lots of money and they're travelling away to get away from it all and spend all the money and live a happy, good life together, and then accidentally they get into a car accident because they're really stupid, and it seems like both of them have died, but later on we find out that he survived, or maybe he didn't survive. That's something that I want to try and clear up at the end of this review. There's lots of really stupid things that happen in this film, lots of really stupid things that happen in every horror movie, but at the beginning we've got this couple of guys in the morgue that are dissecting this body, and one of these guys is wearing sunglasses. Now I know it's probably sunny outside, but you're in a morgue and you're trying to do your job professionally, and this guy's wearing sunglasses.
Sorry, Mr. Hanson, Judy didn't make it.
I know it was a cheap movie, it cost $90,000, and I know that they've probably done a lot of experiments when they were trying to film this movie, but this cut of the movie is widescreen, it's 16:9 aspect ratio, but at the beginning with the intro to the cast credits, etc., they put it at 4:3 and then it goes back to 16:9 again, so it's very lazy editing, especially when Arrow are bringing this one out. You think that Arrow would maybe try and clean it up a little bit and make it 16:9. Well, obviously if they don't have the original negatives then they can't really do that, but I just found it very strange. Even with the original cut, why would they make it 16:9 and 4:3? It just doesn't make sense. After the beginning of the film, when these two people supposedly die, it cuts to 10 years later and we find out that the woman's daughter is now probably about 18 years old. She's played by Patty Mullen. Again, she plays two parts. And they go to the asylum where the bodies were taken. I don't know why they do that, but they went there anyway, her and her friends. And something about these friends is just the exact same as any horror movie back in the 80s. You've got a good looking girl with her kind of geeky friend, her jock boyfriend, we've got this geeky boy who shouldn't really be with that group of friends, and then the cool guy. That's the kind of people that you get with these kind of horror movies, and that's exactly what we got with Doom Asylum. But these guys explain to us, the audience, that over the past 10 years people have been going missing, people have been getting killed, and there's a legend that people are getting killed by a guy using tools from the morgue. The girl finds a mirror just lying on the grass, and it just happens to be her dead mother's mirror from 10 years ago, and she doesn't really flinch, she just goes, "Oh, it's my mum's mirror." I'm not pointing any fingers here, guys, but this could be a possible inspiration for the Night of the Demons. We're introduced to Tina and her friends, who's part of this band, and they turn up at the asylum as well, and Tina has to be the worst actress that I have ever seen, and that laugh really does my head in. Bye, Tina. The movie's just under 7 to 8 minutes long, so it's quite a short film, but one thing that really annoyed me was throughout the whole movie there must have been over, and I'm not joking, about 10 minutes, maybe over 10 minutes of old footage from other old movies from the 1930s, and that's just to extend the movie out to 7 to 8 minutes. There's lots of jokes throughout the film that didn't make sense. I think that they tried to be funny at certain scenes and it didn't pay off at all. It seems to be this horror comedy, and the only comical thing about it was the fact that they tried to be funny and it just wasn't funny all the way through the movie. Anything that they tried to do that was supposed to be funny was just really cringeworthy. I wouldn't single out Tina as being the worst actress in this film because everybody was really bad. Another part of this movie involved just Patty Mullen walking about in a bikini. Mitch, who was the killer in this, he was not too bad, to be honest. You couldn't really see his face, obviously, with all the prosthetics on him, but he wasn't too bad. I think he was probably the best thing about this film. I liked his little laugh as well, that was quite creepy. I read that it was filmed over 8 days and it looked really rushed, and you can tell with the finished product. Quite a few scenes were out of focus as well, so they didn't even go back and reshoot anything. Something that I noticed at the beginning, and I said to myself, I'm going to write this down if it happens, and it did. All of the film was set during the day. I don't think that was intentional. I think it was due to their time restraints of when they could go there. It was a real place, it was a real abandoned sanitarium, so I think that they had to be careful when they went out to film, and they had to go at certain times, and that was all during the day. It wasn't a bad thing. Sometimes I like horror movies that are set during the day intentionally. This one doesn't seem like it was intentionally filmed during the day. I just think that if they went to film it during the night, they didn't have the right lighting equipment, I guess, or it might have been too dangerous and not very safe. If we go back to Mitch at the beginning of the film, he looks like he died with his girlfriend. We don't know, they didn't really explain it, and he came back to life in the morgue. I don't know what that plot was about. Did he die and come back to life, and that's why he looks the way he does, and after 10 years he still looks the exact same way? Or did he not die and he just looks not too bad with his wounds after 10 years? I'm not too sure. They didn't explain that. For an 80s B movie horror, it's not uncommon for them to do that, but with the fact that he comes back and he's still there after 10 years without any police going out after 10 years, where did these bodies go? Where's everybody's bodies disappearing to? Then I think a little bit more explanation was warranted, I think, but without the explanation it wasn't a disaster. But I just think that for a movie being as bad as it is, I think a little explanation would have been a little bit better for us. I had a ridiculous plot, it had awful acting, but that was perfect for an 80s B horror movie. As bad as this one was, I liked the setting. It had a classic 80s B movie vibe to it. There is a lot of 80s movies that have came out and I've watched today and they don't live up to anything. Doom Asylum probably won't live up to anything either, but it still had that nostalgic aesthetic look to it that is classic in a 80s B horror movie. It came out at a time, 1987, 1988, that the horror movies were coming thick and fast. 90% of them didn't have a plot. This didn't have a plot either, but out of some of those, they get noticed because of the prosthetics that they use, the special effects, the practical effects I should say, the acting. This didn't have much of that, but it had something there. I think thanks to Kristen Davis being in Sex and the City and Patty Mullen being incredible in Frankenhooker, this is one that people will latch onto, especially with the new Arrow Blu-ray that came out just under a year ago there. I bought it just under a year ago and I didn't watch it, so I need to thank OG Myers for making me watch it this time. And I'm glad I did, because even though it was a badly made movie, I still enjoyed it. So thanks to OG Myers for recommending me to do a movie review for this. I did have a lot of fun with it, I will be honest. And thanks again OG Myers for supporting my channel as well on Patreon. And you can support my channel too, guys. All the links are down below to my Patreon page. You don't have to donate anything to me. You can join my Patreon page if you want. There is a few tiers you can have a look into as well. OG Myers is on the $10 tier, so he gets to choose, if he wants to, a horror movie for me to review once a month. It can't be anything pornographic, and it can't be anything that I've reviewed within the last year, because that would be pointless. So as always guys, thanks a lot for watching, thanks for subscribing, I'll see you soon, bye bye.